everyone. I'm 𝐂𝐂𝐀'𝐬, the Executive Director of Children's Craniofacial Association, and I'm pleased to be here today with Rashira Dobson, our incoming Program Director. Welcome, Rashira.
Hi, it's nice to see everyone, and I'm so excited to answer a lot of you all's questions concerning retreat and registration. And Erica and I will be walking you through that process today.
Absolutely. So we're going to show you on our retreat registration page some common questions and just how to register to make this process a little bit easier from you. So we're going to go off camera while we share our screen, but we'll be back to answer questions that we get often in just a moment. So now you can see this is our retreat registration page, and we are going to link this obviously in this video so that you'll know exactly how to navigate there. The first thing you'll see is the date and time and the location. And this is where that we're going to be in Orlando, the Hyatt Regency Cypress Gardens. And it is June 26th through 28th. That's the program dates. But I went ahead and put June 25th in because this year we're going to do an informal welcome the night before the retreat actually kicks off the next morning. A lot of you who have been before will recognize this is a small change for our 3-day retreat format. But we're excited and we believe we're still going to have all of the things that you know and love about retreat, plus some extra fit into these 3 days. So here we go. Here's a few things that you can see down here. This is just some guidelines. We encourage you to click the full guidelines link right here, and that will tell you everything you've ever wanted to know about CCA retreat. This has longer answers to your questions. This has more detailed content, so click that and read it. And included in that is the media release. We do ask that you read it in full. When you click right here, it'll open up in a new tab, and take a look at that because as you register, you are agreeing to this consent form when you click yes, and it is not included in the question because it's just too long for that. So it's less than 1 page, but we please ask you to read it before you sign yes. Here are the big things we wanted to cover today and how to register. You will be selecting a ticket over on this side. You're going to pick the household size that corresponds with your family, and you will only need 1 ticket for any size family that you see here. Another thing that is important to note is you will be prompted to fill out all of these attendees, all of your family members' information in the next step. We will also address a little bit more about this additional attendee ticket. So pretty much for most of you, you're only going to need 1 ticket, whether that's an individual registration or a family of 6, you're only going to need one. The exception is if you are bringing perhaps your grandma and your grandpa, then you would do 2 additional adults. But for the sake of this example, we're not going to do them right now. Their registration is almost identical to a family member registration. They just have a different fee. And we will talk about that in a little bit. Another very important part before we click register here is if you are going to apply for a scholarship, our scholarships for travel fund assistance are open until January 5th, 2026. So what does that mean? One of the things that is not covered when attending retreat is your airfare or your gas to drive there and your hotel room while you're at the hotel. CCA makes funds available for folks who need a travel assistance, whether that is covering the hotel room, giving you a small stipend for travel, or even up to airfare. There's not a huge budget for everyone to get everything covered, but we do make some funds available, and we do encourage you to apply if that would help you get to retreat. Another note on a scholarship, if you are applying for a scholarship, instead of having to pay this $150 registration fee or $100 fee, you may use the code scholarship, all caps, at checkout, and that will waive your registration fee. We never want the registration fee to be a burden to anyone wanting to come to retreat, so we offer that code. And additionally, if you're not applying for a scholarship and you are having trouble paying for the fee to register, please also let us know in an email, and we can potentially reduce that fee for you with a code as well. But email us to inquire about that. The most important thing to note is the deadline for scholarships is January 5th, 2026 at 11:59 p.m. Eastern. This includes a follow-up questionnaire. So the registration to apply for a scholarship is the same as the registration to attend retreat, but people who are asking for a scholarship will be sent one additional form to fill out and complete, and both this registration and that secondary follow-up information are required to be considered for the scholarship. The next thing I want to highlight is the directory. As we move on and we start filling out the information, please realize that a lot of these questions we ask are to help us fill out the directory. And I'm actually going to go on camera for just a moment right now and show you a visual of the directory so you have it. This is from our 2023 Minneapolis retreat. So you can see it's a booklet. It has lots of pages inside and it has more information about retreat. You get this when you arrive on site, but it also has information on each family member. So a family photo, names of the family members, and ages. We ask that you include that information in your registration so that we have it for the booklet. But if you do not want to be listed for any reason, please reach out to us and let us know. This is only an internal document. It does not go outside of retreat. The whole point of retreat is meeting people, and we like people to have this booklet to know who's attending retreat. So let me return to our registration page here. All right, back to our registration page. Finally, there's a small snippet of our itinerary right here, and that's what we're going to be doing at retreat, but we will publish a more full itinerary later as retreat gets closer. And again, as I've already repeated several times, please reach out if you have further questions. We are happy to answer as many questions as you might have. You can reach out to Rashira at rdobson@ccakids.com. All right, now the part that you've all been waiting for. So I'm going to show you a sample registration for a household family of 2. So like I said, we put one ticket in there and then we move on to this yellow button that says register. Now you can see it says $150, one ticket. And you're like, oh, this is too quick. Well, now you have to continue to your info. So you continue to the info button is right here. If you are applying for a scholarship, you would put scholarship right here and you would get that discount. Now, you have to set up our payment processor is called Network for Good. So you have to put in your initial information right here. And the information that you're going to input right here is who is actually going to be checking out. So even if you're paying a $0 amount with the scholarship code, go ahead and put it in like you would be paying for a ticket right here. Okay. So, and I already have an account, as you can see. You may already have one if you've ever made a donation before, but I'm just going to continue without logging in. Now, this is where you put in everyone in your family's information. So you can see it's about 21 questions for each person. So some of these are very simple, but the number one question is, do you wish to apply for a travel scholarship? And yes. And you're going to mark yes on every family member if you're applying for a scholarship, or no on every family member if you're not applying for a scholarship. It does have that question on every attendee. That's just the limits of the system that we're working with. So we apologize that it is asked multiple times, but please put the same answer, whatever your choice is, yes or no, for every member of the family. And then you can see we want to put one person's name right here. If you would like your pronouns listed on your name tags, you can choose that here. You can choose anything that you would like. You can put other if you have that preference. You can put it in this drop down, and you don't have to select anything. This is not a required question that you have to answer, but you can put your choice right here. We will also have flags at registration if you do not elect to put these on your name tag. Printed, we will also have flags at registration that you can stick on your name tag to add that at that time. Your birth date is incredibly important. We need this to be accurate. So sometimes I know it's easy to copy and paste, but we actually need you to put every member of the family's actual birth date in. So I'm going to put mine in right there. Now, this may seem a little silly. Well, they just asked for my birth date. Why do we need age at time of retreat? And this is just so we can double confirm the ages of our participants because everyone who is 18 or older is required to take our safe spaces training. And that includes siblings, that includes grandparents, that includes anyone that is coming who doesn't already have this type of certification. So if you're bringing a health aide or a nursing assistant, they most likely already have their certification, but just about everyone else has to take this training. So if you have any questions about that training, please reach out to me or Rashira. But this is a way that we try to ensure a safe space for our community. And it's 4 videos, and then you take a quiz at the end of each video online. And it shouldn't take you more than an hour to complete this training, and your training is good for 3 years. So I will be 41 at the time of retreat. Now, the directory name listed in the program. When I refer to our directory, several families have different last names. And what we would like you to choose is which last name do you want to be alphabetized by? So when you look at the pictures and they're in alphabetical order, I'm going to put that my last name is going to be 𝐂𝐿𝐵𝑟. All the members in my family attending may have the same last name, so you just do your last name, or you may have multiple last names represented, and you can choose either your child's last name or your last name. It's totally up to you which last name that you prefer to be listed under, but please, again, just pick one and use the same directory name for all members of the family. That will reduce confusion on the staff's part and will reduce us having to reach back out to you to clarify. We'll need your email address. And if your child is younger or does not have an email address, you can put anything in there. You can put your same email address in there, or you can just put like no name at noname.com. It is a required question, so you do have to put the email in an email format. So again, you can choose whether you just copy your same email for your child, or if you would rather put no name at noname.com is also an option. This is the email that we will upload to allow you to access the event app. So when we launch our event app, which is called 𝐿𝐻𝐿, there's a digital itinerary in the app. You can communicate with other speakers and with other attendees in the app. So it's important to have a valid email address if your child is old enough to use an email, because it allows them to have access to the app as well. Or if you prefer, you can not allow them to have access to the app and simply still have their email there. No one is automatically put into the app. You're just given an invitation to join. So I wanted to clarify that. So we'll also put in the phone number here and then the mailing street address here. Make sure that you include any apartment numbers or unit numbers here, because there's not 2 mailing street address blocks. So just put your entire mailing address, including any apartment numbers, in this first block here. A really fun part of retreat is every single family member gets a t-shirt. So please pick your family member size. The smallest size that we offer is youth extra small. So it's a size 2 to 4. So if you have a baby that you're bringing, you may request this size for them. And some parents cut it so it fits. Some parents just let babies wear it large. But that's the smallest we have. And our standard sizes go up to 4XL. If you need a different size that's not listed here, please reach out to us and let us know. But pick a size for every member of the family. And these are typically they're Gildan 5-ounce t-shirts, so very standard. We don't really do the ring spun, softer, smaller style. These are very traditional t-shirts. Here is the craniofacial syndrome listing. Again, if you're a family member, you might be checking this attendee does not have a facial difference. Or if you're like me, you'll be clicking undiagnosed, unknown, because that's my syndrome. But we also have some common syndromes here. Not every syndrome is listed. We realize that. These are typically the most common syndromes that are represented at retreat, but we don't want you to feel left out or not included. So there's also an other block where you can list your specific syndrome, and we would be happy to put that in the directory so that more people can find out what your specific syndrome is, even if it doesn't fall within one of these categories. Another question we ask is, what is your craniofacial center affiliation or surgeon? This is just helpful in people finding each other, networking. If you realize that you go to the same center, especially if you travel for care, it's nice to know who else may be in that area or who may be using your doctor, so you can network, share tips, share resources when you are having surgeries. This is also helpful to report back to our centers who support us. We have a lot of craniofacial centers who want to be a part of retreat, and we love telling them de-identified information. For example, we have 5 families from CHOP this year, or 10 families from Seattle Children's. And then, of course, we'll be in Orlando this year. So we'd love to tell the centers there how many of our families are going to be attending. But again, we de-identify that information and don't give your specific name. Has your family attended a retreat before is the next question. We will go with the primary answer of yes, you've been before. And that's just so that we are matching you with a welcome crew member. If you've never attended before, all of our new families are matched with a welcome crew member so that they have someone that they know and have talked to before retreat so that it's a little less intimidating. Again, all of our programs are optional. You don't have to participate in welcome crew if you're a new family, but it helps us know the resources to offer you in advance. So if you've attended before, mark yes, and if you haven't, please mark no. The food allergies question is always a big one because we do provide some meals at retreat. So you can be as specific as you would like to be here, and we do recommend that you be specific. A lot of times, some of the meals that we are serving are allergen friendly. For example, if you're dairy free, there may be dairy free options on the provided menu, and different hotels do it differently, but you will either contact the banquet manager when you show up at retreat dinner, or they will have a special table. Some hotels set up a special table in the buffet line for the special meals, and they have those waiting for you with their name on it. We will guide you through that process. Rashira will work closely with you if you are someone that is going to be getting a special meal or have food allergies. Next, we've added this question this year, so some of our returning guests might not be familiar with this, but we're asking this question as, again, it's not a required question. You don't have to answer it, but if you would be willing to provide us with the information of things that you use as far as accessibility aids or assistive technologies, this helps us in planning our programming and offerings that we might have available. We, at this point, cannot guarantee any of these technologies or aids will be available, but we are absolutely working to make retreat as accessible as possible. And it's important for us to know what devices you use so that we can try to make plans to accommodate that. And one thing that we have is American Sign Language interpreters. So please mark that. We will be following up with you if that is one of the ones we use. We have been using closed captioning at the last 2 retreats, and that's been a very helpful aid for everyone attending. And of course, we have service animals every year that attend. And then there are just some other things here that we would like to work towards making more accessible. Another question here is essential personnel. If you are traveling with a nurse, a healthcare aide, or a non-relative caregiver, please let us know because we have a free ticket that we also ask them to fill out. They do not have to pay to attend as your aide, but we do have to have them as a registered attendee. So you can click it here, and then that will prompt us to send you the registration form for that person. We always invite you to share anything else you'd like about why you're attending retreat. This is just an open field comment box. You're more than welcome to put things in there. And then again, as I alluded to earlier, this is your consent for your photos to be used. This is a yes to all. This is a yes to educational, informational, and promotional, but exclude fundraising content, and no if you do not want your photo used in anything. Again, this is more detailed in our media release, but we ask that if you are choosing no for your photos to be not used in any way, we will happily give you a special colored name tag that specifies no photos. And that way, if you show up in any of the photography that we receive back or the videos, we are alerted by that special colored name tag and we're able to not use that image or that clip of the video. So this is just something you need to consider. And again, if you want to change your answer at any time, you can contact us is once media is released, if it is hard for us to remove that after the fact. Be mindful about that. Take a look at that photo release. So we're going to save all of that. And then we're going to continue. So save and continue to next guest. And so you'll see the questions come up for the next guest right here. So I'm already right here. My information is in there, input, and this is now guest number 2. Again, same information, click the same thing that you clicked on the question above. Fill it all out as if you are filling it out for this person. Make sure you put their birth date, their age, their t-shirt size, the same name for everybody under directory name. This person may not have them if they are your partner or your child or your sibling, and then you can go from there. So that is a quick question, or not quick, that is a thorough explanation of what we are trying to do here with our retreat registration. Hopefully it's not too complicated, but